right, buckle up for a deep dive, and this one might just turn your whole world upside down.
Yeah, maybe even inside out.
We're tackling this book that's been making some serious noise out there, especially with guys who feel like the world's gotten, well, let's just say, not so friendly to, good old-fashioned masculinity.
And the thing that really grabs you is how the book weaves together history with what's happening in society today, and then throws in these seriously mind-bending theories like the C.T.M.U, the cognitive theoretic model of the universe, to try to explain it all.
Wait, the what model? Back up a sec. You're saying this book is connecting ancient history, what we're dealing with today, and some theory that sounds like it came straight out of, like, a sci-fi movie.
You got it. Picture the universe as this one massive interconnected mind, and that's basically the C.T.M.U in a nutshell.
Okay, I'm already getting a little lost here.
Yeah, I know, right? It's a lot to take in, but the book uses this idea to explore how things that seem totally unexplainable, like, those dreams where you feel like you're seeing the future, might actually be tapping into this universal consciousness. Don't worry, we'll get into the details later. It's a wild ride, that's for sure.
Okay, you've definitely got my attention. But before we go full Matrix here, let's start with the basics. What's this book actually saying? Why is it hitting such a nerve with so many guys right now?
So the book's main point is this idea that the universe runs on a kind of divine order, like a hierarchy, where masculine and feminine energies have separate but totally essential roles.
Okay, so kind of like yin and yang, but on a cosmic level.
Exactly. But the problem, the book says, is that we've gone and messed up this natural balance.
So we've gone off track, and now things are going haywire.
Exactly. The book compares what happened to all these empires in history, like Sparta, the Aztecs, even the Mongols and the Ottomans, to what's happening right here, right now, in the West.
And what's the common thread?
A weakening of masculine leadership and ditching traditional values.
So hold on, this isn't just some self-help book. It's saying there's this pattern throughout history, and we're making the same mistakes again. That's a pretty bold statement.
Oh yeah, this book doesn't hold back. It puts a lot of the blame on what it calls cultural Marxism. Basically, it sees feminism and things like CRT as attacks on traditional values.
Whoa, now those are some hot-button topics, but before we go there, let's stick with this whole divine order thing for a minute. What exactly does the book say about the roles of men and women in all of this? Or are we talking going back to, like, 1950s gender roles?
Not quite. It's more complex than that. The book acknowledges that you need both masculine and feminine energies for a society to be healthy. But it says they work best when they're aligned in their right places. Like, imagine a dance where each partner has their own moves, but they're moving together in harmony.
Okay, I can see that. But how does that actually play out in real life? What are these proper roles? And why does the book make such a big deal about them?
Well, it digs into history, myths, even spiritual texts, to argue that men are naturally drawn to leadership, protection, providing. It's not saying women can't do those things, but more that men are wired for them. And when they embrace those roles, it gives them this sense of purpose.
Makes sense. So it's not just about men being the strong ones or the breadwinners. Yeah. It's a deeper thing tied to those specific roles.
Precisely. And the book says that when men step away from these roles, or when society tells them it's wrong to want them, it creates this void.
Yeah.
And that void leads to a ton of problems, both for men and the whole world.
Okay, I'm seeing where this is going.
Yeah.
The book's saying that men need to reclaim their traditional roles, and that by doing that, they can actually fix what's broken. It's a powerful message, especially for guys who are feeling lost or like they don't know where they fit in anymore.
Absolutely. And the book takes it even further, saying this isn't just about making society better, it's about a spiritual war against masculinity itself.
Oh, man, things just got real. So we're about to go deep into the trenches of this spiritual war. We'll be exploring the book's take on feminism, CRT, and everything else it sees as a threat to traditional masculinity. It's going to get intense, folks. Okay, so we're back and ready to jump into what might be the most controversial part of this whole book, this spiritual war against masculinity.
Yeah, no kidding. The book really doesn't hold back when it comes to criticizing what it sees as the main culprits here.
Right.
Feminism, gender ideology, and CRT. It paints this picture of a deliberate, coordinated attack on traditional values and that whole natural order we were talking about earlier.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit.
Yep.
Starting with feminism. The book uses some pretty strong language.
Yeah.
Even going as far as calling it a satanic heresy. Why so harsh?
Well, the book argues that while the idea of equality is, good in theory, the way feminism has actually played out has messed up that natural balance between men and women. It says that focusing on power instead of partnership has led to, like, the emasculation of men and the breakdown of the family.
That's a pretty strong statement. Some people would say that feminism has been a good thing overall, that it's empowered women and led to positive changes for society. Does the book address that at all?
It does. It acknowledges that there has been progress when it comes to women's rights and opportunities, but it argues that those gains have come with a big downside.
How so?
Well, it claims that by weakening men's traditional roles and encouraging women to compete with men rather than complement them, feminism has actually created more problems than it solved.
So it's not saying that it's anti-woman, but that the way feminism has been done has just thrown everything out of whack.
Right. It's like this pendulum that's swung too far in the other direction.
Okay, I see.
And it argues that both men and women are suffering as a result. Men are feeling lost, without purpose, and women are dealing with all these unrealistic expectations and struggling to find fulfillment in a world that's basically turned against traditional families.
It's definitely a complex issue. And I can see how this perspective would resonate with men who feel like, I don't know, like they've been pushed aside or even demonized by modern feminism.
Yeah, exactly.
So what about gender ideology? Where does that fit into this whole spiritual war?
The book sees gender ideology as a straight-up assault on the natural order.
Oh, wow.
It argues that this idea that gender is, like, just a social construct completely separate from biology is totally false, and that it's leading to all this confusion, especially for young people.
So the book is concerned about this blurring of lines between masculine and feminine.
Absolutely. It argues that those lines exist for a reason. They represent these fundamental differences between men and women, and by trying to erase them, we're basically denying what it means to be human.
It's a perspective that definitely challenges a lot of the current thinking around gender.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, the book also takes aim at critical race theory, or CRT. What's its issue with that?
Well, the book sees CRT as another part of this spiritual war. It argues that CRT teaches people to focus on division and guilt instead of unity and understanding. It says that CRT tells people to see themselves as either victims or oppressors just based on their race, which undermines personal responsibility and creates this atmosphere of, like, resentment and hostility.
So the book is suggesting that these ideologies, even if they started with good intentions, are ultimately doing more harm than good.
Yeah.
But what's the solution? If we're really in a spiritual war, how do we even fight back?
That's where the book shifts the gears a bit.
Okay.
It goes from critique to a call to action. It says that men need to step up and take back their rightful place, as leaders, protectors, providers. It's not about, like, dominating women or anything like that, but more about restoring that natural balance that's been messed up.
So it's about men embracing their masculine side and using that strength to try to build a better world.
Exactly. The book encourages men to, like, build their inner strength through practices like stoicism, prayer, meditation. It emphasizes the importance of physical fitness, self-discipline, being self-reliant.
So it's like a whole program.
Yeah, kind of.
What about actually putting this into practice? How does the book say guys can take these principles and use them in their everyday lives?
Well, it encourages men to be leaders in their families, their communities, their workplaces.
Yeah, okay.
It talks about being a good husband, a good father, being a mentor to younger men, and standing up for what you believe in, even when it's not popular.
So being a man of action, not just talk.
Exactly. The book argues that men are hardwired for action, to take charge and make things happen. And when they do that, they not only reach their own potential, but also make the world a better place.
It's a pretty powerful message.
Yeah.
I can see how that would be inspiring for a lot of guys, especially those who are feeling lost or disillusioned.
Yeah, totally.
But it's also probably going to tick some people off. Does the book address those potential criticisms, or does it just, like, double down?
It does acknowledge that its message might not be well received by everyone.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But it argues that it's time to stop apologizing for being men and to embrace what makes them unique.
Well, it seems like we've uncovered the battle lines in this whole spiritual war thing.
Yeah.
But the book doesn't just leave us in the trenches. It actually offers a way forward, a way for men to not just survive, but thrive in all this.
And a big part of that is something we mentioned earlier, this whole thing about dreams and precognition. That's where it gets really wild.
Okay, I'm ready to get wild. We'll explore the book's take on those ideas and how they can help men tap into a deeper level of awareness and purpose after the break. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We talked about how society's gone off track, this spiritual war, and men stepping up as leaders. But now let's get to the part that I've been really curious about, this whole idea that dreams are more than just random thoughts bouncing around in our heads.
Yeah, this is where the book takes a really interesting turn, going into territory that some people might find a bit out there. It basically suggests that guys can tap into a deeper level of awareness, maybe even catch glimpses of the future through their dreams.
Okay, I gotta admit, the idea of precognitive dreams is pretty fascinating.
Right.
But is the book just saying, hey, pay attention to your dreams? Or is there like a more structured approach?
Oh, it's definitely more than just pay attention. The book argues that dreams are actually messages from God,
Whoa.
giving us guidance, warnings, even glimpses of what's to come. And it suggests that by understanding that whole C.T.M.U thing, that idea of the universe as this massive interconnected mind, we can start to see how this kind of precognition might actually work.
So it's not just about interpreting symbols or analyzing the images in our dreams. It's about connecting to this universal consciousness.
Exactly. The book says our minds are part of this bigger consciousness, and through things like prayer and meditation, we can make that connection stronger and open ourselves up to receiving those messages. It even gives real-life examples of men who've had precognitive dreams, dreams that actually predicted things that happened later.
Yeah, you mentioned that story earlier about the guy who dreamt about a plane crash and then changed his travel plans. Are there other stories like that in the book?
Oh yeah, a bunch. There's one about a soldier who dreamt his wife fell down some stairs.
Oh, wow.
And then later he got a letter saying it happened the exact same time he had the dream. It's pretty freaky, right? The book even talks about research from the Rhine Research Center, a place that's been studying psychic stuff for years, and they found evidence to support the idea of telepathic dreams.
Okay, yeah, my mind is officially blown.
Right.
But let's be practical here. Even if we say, okay, precognition is real, how can the average guy actually use this? Is it about predicting lottery numbers or knowing when to avoid traffic?
It's less about predicting specific events and more about, getting a deeper understanding of the patterns and possibilities that are happening in your life.
Okay.
The book says that by paying attention to what your dreams are telling you, you can make smarter decisions, avoid problems, and maybe even see opportunities that you would have missed otherwise.
So it's like having this inner compass that's guiding you toward what you're supposed to be doing.
Exactly. But the book is clear that this isn't just about what's good for you personally.
Okay.
It's about lining yourself up with this, bigger plan, using those insights to be the best version of yourself and make a positive impact on the world.
Makes sense. It's not just about knowing the future. It's about using that knowledge to create a better one.
You're right.
But even with these incredible insights, it sounds like there's still a lot of personal responsibility involved. Guys still got to take action and make things happen.
Oh, absolutely. The book doesn't sugarcoat it. It's a call to action, a challenge to step up and become those leaders, protectors, and providers that men are meant to be. It's about embracing that masculine essence, building inner strength, and using those qualities to actually make a difference.
So it's not just about getting these messages. It's about taking those messages and turning them into action.
Exactly. It's about understanding your place in the grand scheme of things and then stepping up to fill that role with courage, integrity, and a real commitment to making the world a better place. It's about living a life with purpose,
It looks like we've reached the end of this deep dive. We've covered a ton, from the decline of traditional values to the wild world of precognitive dreams. It's definitely given us all a lot to think about.
For sure.
And whether you buy into everything the book says or not, it definitely makes you realize that we're all capable of so much more than we often think.
Absolutely. And if you're interested in learning more, you can check out Book Title on Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books. It's definitely worth a read.
Until next time, keep searching, keep asking questions, and keep exploring the mysteries of life.